What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Israil Madrimov versus Michel Soro, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the WBA Super-Welterweight World Title Eliminator, and this fight is going to be Friday, December 17th from the Tashkent City Renaissance Hall in Uzbekistan, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on the Zone, and to get into both fighters' resumes, Israil Madrimov, fighting out of Uzbekistan, holds a record of 7 wins, no defeats with 5 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 17 by BoxRec in the Super Welterweight division. And now to list some of his best victories, he has a knockout win over Vladimir Hernandez in his pro debut, and that is the same Vladimir Hernandez that is now coming off a decision win over Julian Williams, who is a former unified champion. Madrimov also has a unanimous decision win over Eric Walker, and he's coming off a wide unanimous decision victory over Imani Colombo, and Colombo coming into the fight was undefeated with all his wins by knockout. And to get his opponent's resume, Michel Soro, fighting out of France, holds a record of 35 wins, 2 defeats, and 1 draw, with 24 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently not ranked by BoxRec due to inactivity, but if he was ranked, he would be ranked like number 3, considering BoxRec has given him a lot of points due to some of his victories. But first of all, to list two of his defeats, or both of his defeats, I should say, he has a unanimous decision loss to Zaurbek Baysangarov, and a split decision defeat to current WBO Super Welterweight World Champion, who really should be the undisputed Super Welterweight World Champion, and that is Brian Castano. And now to list his one draw, it came by majority decision against Antoine Douglas, but that was years ago. And now to list some of his best victories, he has a unanimous decision win over John Vera, a knockout victory over Greg Vendetti, a knockout win over Cedric V2, and a knockout victory over Glenn Tapia. Michel Soro is also a former interim WBA Super Welterweight World Title Challenger back when that was a belt, and he's a former WBO Super Welterweight World Title Challenger, and that was in that Baysangarov fight years ago. And in my opinion, this fight is a 50-50 and either man could win. But as of now, I am edging towards Israil Madrimov for a couple of reasons. One of them is that he is the younger, more slick man. And the second is that Soro is coming off a long layoff. And the third is that Soro is just away from his hometown. He normally fights in France, but Madrimov here in his home country of Uzbekistan should get him a lot of hype with the crowd and whatnot. And really, the judges should be more favorable to the hometown fighter. That's just my opinion. But they really shouldn't be, because that's obviously not fair, but obviously I just think they will, considering obviously he's the hometown fighter. But really, I mean, Madrimov, he's obviously the younger man, more slick, his style, he's a southpaw. Soro, he likes to come forward a bit, and if he wasn't coming off a 2-year layoff, which he is, I just think that Madrimov would probably lose this fight. Soro is a very tough competitor, definitely a top 10, maybe even top 5 super welterweight, very good fighter. And as I mentioned before, he has that almost split decision, or he has a split decision draw, or split decision loss, sorry about that, against Brian Castano. And that was a very, very close fight. Either man could have won. I actually believe I edged it in favor of Soro, like 115 to 113. It was a really, really close fight, razor thin. But, yeah, the judges edged it in favor of Castano. No problem with that. It was a really, really close fight. But still, I mean, Soro, he has a very good overhand right, carries a good amount of power. But Madrimov, he likes to move around a lot, has a very good footwork, very good movement. Yeah, and I think that's what is going to win him this fight. But I think it's going to be a really close fight in the scorecards, and I think either man could win. So how I see this fight going down, I think that Israil Madrimov will be the one on the outside, sort of countering, sort of boxing, bobbing and weaving, using his excellent footwork, and that's really what he will be doing. But for Soro, he'll be the one coming forward, trying to cut off the ring for Madrimov, and trying to land that big overhand right that I mentioned before. I mean, the thing with Soro, he does carry a good amount of power, and he does have a good pressure fighting style. And being that he does have a lot of power, it just works perfectly for him. So I think that's what's going to happen. Madrimov being the one sort of countering on the outside, Soro the one coming forward. And I think that this fight will be really, really close, and I think it will go the distance. I think that both of these men have pretty good defense, and they will be able to defend some shots, and it will be a chess match. It will be a really, really competitive fight with one man winning one round, the other man winning another round. It will just be back and forth on the scorecards. Yeah, I think it will be a really, really close fight. I mean, comment down below your thoughts on this fight. Who you think is going to win? Whether you think Madrimov is going to pull off the best victory of his career thus far, or you think Soro is going to continue in that WBA route, win this fight, and then go on to challenge for a regular world title, something like that, or maybe even the Super World title. But still, I mean, I'm just edging Madrimov for various reasons that I did mention. Michel Soro, who knows how he will fight considering he's coming off that long layoff. What if he'll get knocked out in a couple rounds? What if he just won't be the same? That's really just questions that we will see in the ring. But I think that he will be similar, but I think that obviously it's not going to be the prime Michel Soro we saw in like 2019, 2017, around there. But it is in 2021, almost 2022, so I wonder how he would have adapted or would adapt for this fight, considering he's coming off this long layoff. So I'm just very interested to see who will win this fight. And this is actually an excellent fight. So the winner, I mean, will get, obviously, that title shot, I believe so, because it is a final eliminator. And if the WBA did not take away interim belts, I mean, likely this would have been for an interim title. So Madrimov could have had a piece of hardware in his accolades, but still, I mean, it is a final eliminator. Winner will most likely get a world title shot. So, yeah, I'm very excited for it. And as I mentioned before, I am edging Israil Madrimov to win this fight, but I think it will go the distance, as I mentioned before. But how will the judges score it? I think that Israil Madrimov will have a decent amount of success. Or I really think the earlier rounds will be competitive, if I'm going to be honest. But then as the fight goes on, Soro, even though he's known for having a pretty good gas tank, I mean, I don't believe he's gone 12 rounds since either that John Vera fight, I believe so, which was maybe in 2018, maybe early 2019. So it will be a problem. I'm not really too sure. I think it might be with his stamina and whatnot. But I just think that Madrimov, he does get stronger as the fight goes on, and he will win a decent amount of the later rounds to mid-rounds and eke out a split decision victory. But I do think that Michel Soro will take a couple of the later, maybe even middle rounds, and a decent amount of the earlier rounds, making it really, really close after like 6 rounds. So with that being said, I believe that Israil Madrimov will get a split decision victory. But how will the judges score it? I think that 2 judges will have the bout 115 to 113 in favor of Israil Madrimov, and 1 judge will have the bout 115 to 113 in favor of Michel Soro. So overall, I believe that Israil Madrimov will defeat Michel Soro to win the WBA Super-Welterweight World Title Eliminator.